Yesterday, you had an assignment that introduced you to personal budgets and a video that went along with it. Today, and actually the next couple of days, we're going to follow up on that and continue to talk about making and using personal budgets. On your screen, you see part of a page from an Excel spreadsheet. The Excel spreadsheet is a very handy tool. Some of you may be aware of that and may have used Excel in the past. If not, you need to know a little bit about it. So just a couple of things to introduce you to this. First of all, I'll be referring from time to time about cells. For example, on the screen, you will see that there's some information about net income, monthly expenses, monthly savings, and this number right there is titled the total net monthly income, 1365. We'll come back to that in a moment, but what I want to point out to you is that this number is in a cell. Cell means that when we look at the column, which is labeled D, and the row, which over here is labeled 10, the cell is called D10. And what's even more important is that this cell is part of a formula. If you look up at the top in this area, you will see that this is titled equal sum D8 colon D9. The D8 and the D9 deal with the formula and the cells involved. So this is a total of this cell, which is D8, column D, row 8, and D9, column D, row 9. So this is the sum of those two columns. It's good to know a bit about formulas because it enables you to change things. So if this particular person who has a part-time job earning $900, if that is not 900, but if let's say it's 1,000, then look at what happens to the total. The formula automatically adds up the two. Now, this is a pretty simple little addition problem, but if you have a long column of numbers and want to change a couple of those numbers, this formula would easily do that for you. So let's go back to where it was. Okay, so we'll come back to formulas in a moment, but I want to look at now the budget itself. This budget is for a typical high school student who has a couple of part-time jobs. So this high school student has part-time job number 1 and also part-time job number 2. And you see, as we pointed out before, the two amounts that this person makes monthly. Now this is a net monthly income, not the gross. So after all those deductions you learned about are taken out, all the taxes, federal, state taxes, all the optional retirement plans, that sort of thing, all those things are deducted from the gross pay, ending up with net pay, in other words, the take-home pay. That's what we're looking at. So the net pay for this particular person is totaling $1,365. This is the monthly total. So when you make a budget, that's what you start with. What will you make per month? And we will assume this is the total income for this person. Second item will be the expenses. You see the total here of the heading monthly expenses, and you see a number of things that are listed as expenses. This particular person must own a car, so he or she has a car payment every month. These are monthly expenses. So the car payment expense for the month is $350. Gasoline is budgeted at $100 per month, and this is always going to be somewhat of a guess. We'll see how this plays out as we go through, but right now the budget is for $100 a month allocated for gasoline. School supplies, Computer payment, obviously the person owns a computer and is making payments of $120 every month. He's got a cell phone, or she does. Entertainment, there's an entertainment factored in. So this person is expecting to pay $150 every month for entertainment, whatever that might be. Movies, uh, dinner, out, whatever it might be. So entertainment ends up being budgeted. There's a budget for clothes, 50 a month, online subscriptions for Netflix or whatever, $110 a month, and miscellaneous. So there may be some other odd things that come up that are unexpected, and the budget allows $50 a month for that. So you have income, and you have a bunch of expenses. That's part of the budget. The other part is something that the video talked about, and that's savings. And as the video told you, it's important to factor this in. We really need to get into the habit of saving. This is the best thing you can do when you begin earning money, even on a part-time basis. So in this situation, again, there are a number of items that are put aside for savings, probably in a simple savings account through a bank or a credit union. All of these things, gifts, car insurance. Again, if this person owns a car, there's not only a car payment every month of $350, but also there's car insurance. Now that could be a monthly expense listed up here among all the expenses, but it's down here because in this situation, perhaps the car insurance isn't paid every month. So we don't need to budget it every month, but we need to save it because after a period of time, the bill will come. Typically, car insurance is paid every 6 months or even annually, once a year. So 6 months from now, we're going to need to pay a pretty good chunk of money for car insurance. So we are budgeting $125 a month for car insurance. And at the end of 6 months, hopefully we'll have enough money to make that payment. Car repair and maintenance. Again, this is not necessarily every month, but we need to put money aside. In this case, the person is saving $100 a month for car repairs and maintenance. Not only oil changes and that sort of routine maintenance, but also perhaps the car is going to need tires in the near future. So we need to start saving for that. So we are this person is putting aside $100 every month for car repairs and maintenance. Vacation. We're saving $30 a month for a vacation. And again, we'll talk about that more later as to determining how much to put aside for that. And we need to look at federal income tax and state income taxes. Even though you have an option of claiming 1 or 0 on your W-4 for federal and on your IT-4 for state, in this case Ohio income tax. Either way, you might end up having to pay some money at the end of the year. You don't know that for sure, so just in case, we're putting aside a little bit of money each month for federal income tax and state income tax. If we don't need it at the end of the year, then we've got extra money saved up. But just in case, we're putting some aside. And finally, charitable giving. Something you should consider even now, even if you have just a part-time job. It's a good habit to get into giving back to your community, to your church, to your high school, for that matter, to any charitable organization, because it's certainly the right thing to do. This person decides that he or she can put aside in savings $15 a month, and then later in the year there'll be some money available to make a donation to charity. Now, this number right here, the $320, is the total of all of these monthly savings. And again, if you look at the top of the spreadsheet, way up here, in this line, you see way at the very top, it says sum C24 colon C30. That means we are adding cell C from the column C, line 24, through column C, line 30. We're adding all these numbers, and that adds up to 320. Again, if we make a change, it'll change the total. So for vacation, suddenly we decide we need $130 a month. Let's put that in, $130 a month, and look what happens to the total. Now we're at 420. So it adds it up for you, which is a very convenient thing. Whoops, there we go. Okay, let's go back to where we had it originally. Okay, now the bottom, or the next number in this column, is the total of expenses and money that we put in savings, $1,365. And again, if you look at the top, at the very top up here in this top heading, in this line, you see sum D13 through D31. So we are adding D13 through D31. So all those numbers are added up, and the total is 1365. And again, if we change any of those numbers, the total will change. But what this shows is what's called a perfect budget, because you have a total income of 1365 and a total money going out either to expenses or to savings of 1365. So it balances out perfectly. And this total at the very bottom shows that. And the formula at the top is D10, which is, again, column D, line 10, 1365, minus D33, which is this down here, column D, line 33. And that, when you subtract total income from total expenses, will be 0. And we've allocated every penny of our income. Some of it went to expenses, some of it went for savings. So this is what we will be looking at the next couple of days. And there are a number of things this will tell you, but a lot of things it does not tell you as well. It doesn't tell you, for example, with your car payment, how many more payments you need to make. You need to keep that information someplace else. Where did we come up with 150 for entertainment? Where did we come up with 50 for clothes, and so on? So we'll talk about more detail regarding the budget as we go through this. We're going to be using this to start the discussion, and we're going to be adding to this budget in the next couple of days. So that's the end of this lesson at this point. And now return to your course page. Thank you.